Being gaslit is one of the worst experiences a human can have. In fact, because of the way our brain is designed and wired, when we are being gaslit, it makes us feel like we're crazy, like there's something wrong with us. Someone from the outside may think, oh, why would you even ever believe this thing that this person is telling you? But if you've had that experience yourself, how very overwhelming that it is, and how difficult it is to get out of a relationship where this is happening. My name is Monica Mouer. I am a licensed professional counselor, and I'm also the founder of the Center for Transformation. We exist to help people create a connection in a lonely and disconnected world. And this topic of gaslighting is one that creates a lot of disconnection in our society. And the way I think about it in a couple of different ways. Just in terms of, am I really being gaslit, or is this something that's actually going on with me? Am I the problem? So in this episode, I will be explaining not only what gaslighting means and where the term came from, but also if something is actually gaslighting versus just a form of manipulation. So the term gaslighting came originally from a play called Gaslight. In the 1930s, it was then split into a couple of different movies, one of them starring Ingrid Bergman, who was a famous actor back then in the 40s. And in the original movie, the wife was being told by her husband that she was crazy, although she knew she wasn't. Or she didn't know she wasn't. She at first didn't think she was, but then as time went on, she thought she was the crazy one. He was leaving the house in the middle of the night, and when he left, the gas lights in their home would dim. And she knew she saw this happening, but then eventually she thought, maybe it's not actually happening, maybe I'm making it up. And he told her, yeah, this isn't actually happening, you're crazy. Well, he was going out and doing, whatever, having an affair in the middle of the night. So she, over time, became less and less sure of her own sanity as he continued to gaslight her. Now, we use this term all the time in therapy. We talk about, are you being gaslit, or are you gaslighting someone? There's a new movie with Julia Roberts. I think it's about Watergate, and it's called Gaslit. Even when we think about this Bad Vegan documentary that is out right now, the idea is that the husband of this restaurant owner was gaslighting her and creating a scenario where she actually kind of went against her original character and who she was. And so what I know about gaslighting in terms of how my clients experience it is there's a sense of manipulation that takes people into kind of a vortex of not understanding who they are, not really able to stay connected to themselves. And that is very, very frustrating. We have mirror neurons in our brain that reflect back accurate identity to us, or identity, whether it's accurate or inaccurate, when we're in relationship with someone. And so when we're in a dyad, in a two-person relationship, what happens is there's not a third party to kind of bring a stability. And the other person can more easily, when their brain is more dominant, have manipulative control over the other person's mind. And as the mirror neurons are reflecting back identity, the person then begins to question who they are, even if they felt like they really did know who they were before all of this started. So gaslighting is a form of emotional manipulation and emotional abuse, and the original sense of the term, the person who is doing the gaslighting knows that they are doing gaslighting. They know that they're gaslighting another individual. It's not something that they they in their subconscious are hiding, but they are consciously aware that they are gaslighting someone in order to get by with something, in order to kind of make the other person think they're not doing something, or, in order to be able to lie. So when we think about somebody who's actually doing gaslighting versus they believe what they're saying, they are coming at it more from a manipulative, almost like a narcissistic, but almost like a sociopathic or psychopathic bend to it, because there's this sense of, I don't have empathy for you. I'm not trying to do a two-person relationship here. I'm just trying to control, manipulate, and get one over on you. And the person wouldn't really they would know that they're doing that. Versus think about someone who is so damaged emotionally, so hurting, maybe from childhood abuse or some kind of trauma that they've endured that they have not dealt with themselves, and then their brain goes into this fragmented sense of self where they dissociate or repress their emotion. Repress their memories. When they repress or dissociate, they're disconnected from reality themselves. So we could almost say that their, subconscious mind is gaslighting their conscious mind, or vice versa, or something like this, versus them actually gaslighting the other person. So if you are dissociative, or if the person you're thinking about as you watch this video is dissociative or repressed in their memory system, what's happening to them is that they believe that they're right when they're talking to you. They're not trying to gaslight you. They actually believe that they're right. They believe the lies they're telling. They believe the way that they're manipulating is from a sense of feeling right about the way that they're responding in a situation, even though it's dysfunctional. Their subconscious mind has those traumas stored deep inside, and they are causing the brain to do something we call confabulation or verbal logical explainer. So they actually are not in touch with reality themselves. And when you're in relationship with someone like that, it feels like you're being gaslit, although they are not purposefully doing that. They are just so wounded. And so what, it's for another video how to deal with that, but just quickly, the idea would be in that type of situation is to love them well, but then to be able to really set some boundaries and have some a firm sense of your own identity, that you can say, hey, it's not okay if you talk to me like that. It's not okay if you treat me like this. This is actually what I believe is going on. This is my narrative. Now, if you have healed from your traumas and you have a clearer perspective on life and situations, then you may have some clarity about how to speak into situations. But a lot of times we have both people in the coupleship, in the dyad, whether it's a friendship or a coupleship relationship, both of them have unprocessed trauma that causes them to see things through a skewed lens. That's where the topic of perspective comes in. And if you haven't listened to my a video on marriages becoming extinct and just the fact that it's rare to have a good marriage. It's all about that video talks a lot about perspective taking and how that works, etc., etc. But back to the topic of being gaslit. A true gaslighting experience is when the person knows they're doing it, but there are many, many people who are just so wounded and damaged that they end up gaslighting, so to speak, someone else, but it's really they're not aware themselves that they're doing that. So it's not as much a psychopathic move as it is a very, very wounded person move. And so that's something to really think about. Another concept that I want to present is this idea of it really it depends on how close the relationship is with the other person, how you will be impacted by the gaslighting. If we are talking about somebody that you're married to, watch out. That is such a tough scenario because you are connected to this person's spirit, soul, and body, because you have been engaging with them at this level. You live with them. Your body synchronizes or tries to synchronize with them on a regular basis, whether you sleep in the same bed, have an intimate relationship, have conversations about kids or finances or jobs or dreams. you have shared yourself with them, and you've become almost like one person. In terms of interpersonal neurobiology, we talk about the bonding that happens in our marriages, right? And so there's this deep connection where we become more of a we than just an I or a me. We are a coupleship. And so when the person that you are in this level of bonded relationship with gaslights you or manipulates you in that level, it really does some kind of a number on you, because you've let your guard down with them. You've let yourself become vulnerable with them, and there's this trust that your whole body, your brain, your mind, yourself has tried to engage with them in. And then they come out with something that is totally bizarre. It's totally off center. And you think, well, am I right or are they right? And you really step back and question yourself. You really have a hard time knowing what's true in the scenario. So it's a very complicated thing when the person who is gaslighting or manipulating you is somebody that you're married to. And the longer you've been married, the worse it is, because there's a sense of just the connection that you've had with this person over the long term, really speaking to the difficulty of getting out of the gaslighting mindset, of thinking of yourself from an accurate lens, your true identity. It's really, really complicated. My heart goes out to anybody who is experiencing that. I know that in my own life, I have had many experiences with dyadic relationships, coupleships, whether they're friends or close relations, where in the relationship I feel like, I think is there something wrong with me? Like questioning, am I right or are they right? And really wondering, should I receive this feedback or should I not receive this feedback? And just a note of, in terms of, a note to take around this topic in terms of what to do if you are in this type of relationship. What you really, really need to do more than anything is find some people that you can trust. Find a trusted other, and it's great to have more than one, have two, at least two, if not more people that you can even be in a group with. So having a one-on-one relationship with a therapist, obviously, I agree with that and think it's a great idea. But having a group where you belong and where the people that are in the group are healthy, they've done a lot of their psychological work, can be so helpful in order to get healthy feedback. And even in that group, being able to reflect accurate identity, asking each other, how do you see me? How do you see the situation? Not in terms of gossiping about the other person, but in terms of just sharing life together with this group and being able to have them say, hey, this is how we experience you as an individual. You're kind, you're a clear thinker, but also giving you some, critical feedback of sometimes, you talk down to people, or sometimes, you second guess yourself, or you come across insecure. There's different ways that people can kind of give you accurate feedback, even if it is a difficult concept to hear, that can be really, really helpful. So these are some thoughts for today just around gaslighting. I am going to be doing very soon another episode on emotional abuse that will take this gaslighting concept to the next level. So I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Please subscribe.